how the structure of the prism can be mentioned. Now in this class, let us discuss about the refraction through the prism. So for that, so according to your syllabus, we are going to derive an expression for refractive index of prism, refractive index of prism, refractive index of prism in terms of angle of the prism and angle of minimum deviation delta. So angle of minimum deviation, let us take this as a capital D subscript M I will take. So in this session or in this class, so we are going to derive an expression for refractive index of prism in terms of angle of the prism, it is represented as A, and angle of minimum deviation. So for that, let us consider a ray diagram. So this is what the ray diagram one should consider. We should write the principal cross section of the prism. You know how to write the principal cross section of the prism. We should write a triangle. So I used to consider equilateral triangle here. A, B, C. This is what the principal cross section of the prism. AB and AC are the two refracting surfaces. BC is the base of the prism. Base means it has to be held here. Now, A is the angle of the prism. This is what the angle of the prism. The angle between two refracting surfaces, where the two refracting surfaces will contact, that angle is treated as an angle of the prism here. A is the angle of the prism, right? So AB is the first refracting surface, AC is the second refracting surface. Now let us consider an incident ray here. Now the light is incident at this point. Say we should write a straight line here. This is what incident ray, which incident at this point. So for every point of incident, you know what we have to write? We have to write the normal drawn to the point of incident. Normal means for this plane surface, we should write a perpendicular. So this is what the normal drawn to the point of incident. So PQ is a incident ray. Now the normal to the point of Q is, this is what the dotted line represents the normal, perpendicular to the refracting surface AB. Now the light is traveling from air media to glass media because the prism is made by glass. Now it is traveling from rarer to denser. So what happens here? It bends towards the normal. Bends towards the normal because it is a ray of light travels from rarer medium to denser medium. In this ray diagram, I used to write a straight line parallel to the base of the prism. So at the end of the derivation, I will tell why it is parallel to the base of the prism. Now PQ is incident ray, QR is refracted ray. The light is traveling through the glass now. Now what happens? Now the light is coming out from the prism. It means it is traveling from denser media to rarer media. So it should bend away from the normal. You know the condition for that. So how to write the normal? Here for the plane surface AC, this is the second plane surface. You have to write the normal here, perpendicular, drawn to the point of incident R. Now where the two normals can meet, name that point as N. Now after refraction by the second surface AC, the light can pass or bends towards the base of the prism because it bends away from the normal in this direction. Yes. So PQ is incident ray, QR is refracted ray, RS is emergent ray. That's why the angle between normal and the incident ray is angle of incident. You know that, you are familiar about what is normal, I mean angle of incident. The angle between normal and the emergent ray is angle of emergent E. E is angle of emergent, I is angle of incident. Now there are two times refraction. Refraction by the first surface AB at point Q, refraction by the second surface AC at point R. That's why the angle between normal and the refracted ray is treated as angle of refraction. Let us say R1 is the angle of refraction produced by the first surface and R2 is the angle of refraction produced by the second surface. Now, suppose if this prism is not present, if the incident ray is passing in this direction, if there is no prism, so it may proceed along in this direction. This is what the direction of incident ray. This is what the direction of incident ray. If the prism is not present, it may proceed along this direction. Due to the presence of this prism, the principal cross section, now what happens here, instead of going in this direction, the light can pass in this direction. So 2 times refraction takes place. Finally, the deviation produced, if I draw back RS in the reverse direction, it will meet the direction of incident at certain point. Let us that point as M. Now we are getting an angle here. This is what the angle between the direction of incident ray and the direction of emergent ray is represents the angle of deviation, delta. Now here we want angle of minimum deviation. So later on I will explain what is minimum deviation. So generally what is deviation? The angle between direction of incident ray and the direction of emergent ray is known as angle of deviation. So with the help of this angle of the prism and angle of deviation, especially minimum deviation, we are going to explain how the refractive index of the prism depends. So mathematically we are going to explain that one. So this ray diagram is very important and essential to derive this refractive index of the prism. Now to start the derivation, let us consider derivation contains mainly 3 parts here. In the first part, we have to consider, see in the diagram, ray diagram carefully. So first case here from the quadrilateral, see here AQNR. See, this is what quadrilateral shape. From the quadrilateral, see, you can observe the quadrilateral in this shape. This is what the quadrilateral. So in this quadrilateral name is AQNR. This is what quadrilateral, AQNR. So the total angle inside the quadrilateral is 360 degree. So total angle inside this is 360 degree. So this angle, we know that it is a normal. This line is perpendicular to AB. That's why this angle is 90 degree. Similarly, for the surface AC, this is what the normal. Now this angle is also 90 degree. Sum of these two will becomes 180 degree. So the remaining angle in this quadrilateral is 180 degree. It means sum of these two angles should be equal to 180 degree. So from the quadrilateral, what we are getting? Angle of the prism. This is what the angle of the prism plus angle QNR. Sum of these two must be 180. Call this is equation number 2. Why it is 180? Already the angle AQN plus angle ARN, 90 plus 90, 180. The remaining two angles are angle A and angle QNR. So sum of these two must be equal to 180 degree. So this is the first part. Now to continue this derivation, consider the second part here. So in the second part, we have to consider a triangle here, QNR. We are observing one triangle here. So from the triangle, so triangle, name of the triangle is QNR. QNR is the triangle. So in this triangle, so you know that, so in the geometry we are observing that the angle inside the triangle should be equal to 180 degree. The total sum of angle, all the angles should be equal to 180 degree. So the angle R1 is one angle, R2 is another angle, another last angle is QNR. Sum of these three, R1 plus R2 plus, which is the remaining one, QNR. So all these three angle is sum of how much? 180 degree. Say it is equation number 2. Now we are getting two equations. So in both the equations, RHS is 180 means LHS is equal. RHS is equals means LHS is also equal. So from equations 1 and 2. From equations 1 and 2. So one can observe that right hand side is same means left hand side is also same. So it means angle A plus angle QNR is equal to what? Angle R1, angle R2 plus angle QNR. So in this equation, RHS, right hand side angle QNR, left hand side angle QNR, it cancels. The remaining is R1 plus R2 is equal to A. Equation number 3. So the meaning of this equation is whatever the angle of refraction produced by the first surface and the second surface, sum of these two is always equal to angle of the prism. That is the meaning of this equation. Okay, so while continuing this derivation, let us consider the next part. This is very important part. So this is first part and this is the second part. So in the third part, what we have to consider? So we have to consider one more triangle here, QMR. So observe carefully. So next we are considering from the triangle QMR. QMR. In this triangle, we are applying some geometric rules here. What is geometric rules? Say this is a triangle. QMR is a triangle. In this triangle, this angle is some difference of I and R1. See here, this angle is I and this angle is also I, vertically opposite. So it means this total angle is I, means if I subtract I by R1, this is the remaining angle. So this angle becomes I minus R1. Similarly, we can clearly say that this angle is E. This angle is E. It means the vertically opposite angle is also here. In E, if you subtract R2, the remaining angle becomes E minus R2. So this angle is angle MRQ is E minus R. Angle MQR is I minus R. So in this triangle MQR, so the condition what we are applying is exterior angle in any triangle. This is common for all the triangles. Exterior angle is equal to sum of two opposite interior angles. So this is what the exterior angle. So for this exterior angle, opposite to interior angle in the triangle is, interior angle is MQR, another one is MRQ. So condition is, in a triangle, what is the condition? Exterior angle. So which is exterior angle? Delta. Delta is exterior angle. Sum of two opposite interior angles. Sum of two opposite, which is opposite I minus R1, one angle. This one I minus R1 plus next one is E minus R2. E minus R2. This is the second one. Okay. So again I want to tell this condition. This is very important condition. So if I take any triangle, the exterior angle is always equal to sum of two opposite interior angles. So interior angles are I minus R1, E minus R2, opposite interior angles. So in this triangle, which is the exterior angle? Delta. So that's why delta is equal to I minus R1 plus E minus R2. So now I want to simplify this equation. After simplifying this one, we are getting that. See here, I plus E minus common for this R1 and R2. So the delta can be written as delta is equal to I minus E, which is the remaining term, minus common R1 plus R2. Call this is equation number continuation. This is already 3 and the continuation number is 4. See here, compare these two equations, equation 3 and 4. From equation 3 and 4. From equation 3 and 4. See here, equation 3 is R1 plus R2 is equal to A. It means R1 plus R2 is equal to A, means we can replace R1 by R1 plus R2 as A. This equation 4 becomes delta is equal to I minus E minus R1 plus R2 means, so what is R1 plus R2? A, angle, the prism. So actually this is I plus E. I plus E minus common. So okay, then what happens here? I plus E minus A. Clear? Now in the next step, you can simplify this as equation A or equation I, no problem. We keep as it is, no problem. It is equation number 5 only. Now we are getting two equations mainly. Sum of two angle of refractions is always equal to angle of the prism. One condition we are getting that. And delta is represented like this. I plus E. I is angle of incident. E plus E is angle of emergent. If we subtract from that angle of the prism, we will get angle of deviation delta. So next what we are going to explain here, it is how the angle of incident vary with angle of delta, I mean angle of deviation. If we plot a graph of, now I want to plot a graph here. So angle of incident along x-axis, angle of deviation along y-axis. Along y-axis one can take angle of deviation delta, along x-axis angle of incident. So observe carefully here. Now this is an incident, right? If the incident ray is considered along the normal, now what is the angle of incident? 0. Now this is normal incident. Normal incident means it does not satisfy Snell's law. So that's why if it does not satisfy Snell's law means the angle of deviation should be infinity. So we never get for 0 angle of incident, we never get delta. If you make some inclination here, then only we will get angle of deviation delta. If you go on increase the angle of incident, initially it is coming from infinity, and if you go on increase the angle of incident, angle of deviation decreases actually. This is what experimental observation. If you go on increase the angle of incident, the angle of deviation, initially angle of deviation is infinity. When the angle of incident goes on increases, angle of deviation goes on decreases. So angle of deviation goes on decreases. Now it don't become 0. So up to certain value of angle of incident it is decreasing. Again if you increase the angle of incident, the angle of deviation starts increasing in this direction. Now it means if you increase the angle of incident, there are two types of variation. First it decreases, reaches minimum, and then increases. So at certain point where the angle of incident is we are getting, this is what angle of incident I. At this angle of incident the deviation is minimum, so that's why it is called minimum deviation, dm. So it is dm. This is a particular angle of deviation where the angle of incident is having single value. So what is meant by single value? Only at this point of angle of incident delta m is obtained, dm is obtained. Other than this point of angle of incident, if I take any point, the deviation is having, any deviation is having two values of angle of incident. It means this is I and this is E. This is incident angle, this is emergent angle. At this point only I is equal to E. This is the speciality of this deviation. So at minimum deviation only angle of deviation delta dm, this is what minimum deviation, we are getting angle of incident should be equal to angle of emergent. It means whatever the value of I, same value of P. That's why initially I told that. So while writing angle of incident, so while writing the refracted ray, one should write a refracted ray parallel to the base of the prism. If it is parallel to the base of the prism, at that time only the angle of emergent and angle of incident must be exactly equal. So it means at minimum deviation only the refracted ray just parallel, exactly parallel to the base of the prism. This is what the condition. So if I is equal to E means R1 is also equal to R2 and R1 is also equal to R2. Got it? So this is the condition only when the deviation is minimum. That's why if delta is equal to dm, it means minimum deviation, it should satisfy angle of incident is equal to angle of emergent and R1 is equal to R2. Now apply this condition for both equation 3 and 4. Now I want to consider from equation number 3. So what is equation number 3? R1 plus R2 is equal to A. R1 plus R2 is equal to A. It means R1 is equal to R2. Let us consider this is common as R. Now what happens here? R1 is R. R2 is also R, which is equal to what? A. So which implies 2R is equal to A. Therefore, what is angle of refraction? A by 2. Half of the angle of incident. I mean half angle of the prism. Angle of refraction. So this is the condition. At minimum deviation, angle of refraction is always half of the angle of the prism. So this is first condition we are getting. Next, so from equation 5, from equation number 5. So what is equation number 5? So delta is replaced by minimum deviation. It means dm. Instead of writing delta, I used to replace dm because at minimum deviation we are applying here. I is angle of incident. Angle of incident is equal to angle of emergent. Instead of emergent, I want to write I only. I only here because I is equal to E means E can be replaced as I here. I plus E is also I minus A. Now I plus I is 2I. 2I is equal to A will comes to left hand side, that will become A plus D subscript M, minimum deviation. Then which implies that what is the value of angle of incident is equal to angle of the prism plus angle of minimum deviation whole divided by 2. This is what the condition we are getting. So it is equation number 6 and this is equation number 7. Now last step of the derivation. So now I am applying Snell's law. From Snell's law. So everybody knows that what is Snell's law. It's a very important concept, Snell's law. Snell's law is applied only for oblique incident. Here Snell's law is refractive index n is equal to sin I divided by sin R. So it is equation number 8. Now this is what Snell's law. Snell's law states that refractive index, the ratio of sine of angle of incident to the sine of angle of refraction is always constant for the given pair of media and given wavelength of light. So that constant is known as refractive index. Now I am considering light is traveling from air to glass. Refractive index of air is 1, refractive index of glass is n. That's why it is n is equal to sin I by sin R. N is the absolute refractive index. Now we replace I by A plus dm by 2 and R by A by 2. So finally the refractive index becomes n is equal to sin of, what is I here? A plus D subscript m. A means angle of the prism, D subscript m is angle of minimum deviation, whole divided by 2, whole divided by sin of A by 2. So this is the final expression for refractive index of the prism in terms of angle of the prism and angle of minimum deviation. So this equation helps to find the refractive index of the prism. So when the angle of the prism is given and the angle of minimum deviation is given. So finally we got refractive index is equal to ratio of sin of A plus dm whole divided by 2